Hey guys, welcome back to Row & Co Farms. I'm Julie. I wanted to show you something I was doing today, which is basically foraging for free food. If you go out and look on your property or other people's property that you know, you have probably seen wild onions like this growing. Guys, these are onions. perfectly fine to eat as long as they're growing in a safe place. You don't necessarily want them off of a roadway, but if you know that these are growing in a pasture or even in your yard, you can pick these. Just wash them really well. So I went foraging and I have found thousands of wild onions. And so I've picked those. I'm gonna be dehydrating those and freezing some. And this is just free food for my family. Right now, with food shortages and things happening in the world, and inflation and prices and everything going up, free is always a great option. So I was just going to show you guys what you can forage just out in the world. And if you don't dig the onions out, if you just chop them off, they'll grow back. And so you may even be able to get more. I found all of these in my front yard and my side yard, and then partly in my garden. And so we just have bunches of these, and I love being able to forage for them. So let's get them processed and put away. I just wanted to share my onion foraging with you. I did want to mention also that if you spray your yard with any kind of herbicides or pesticides or anything like that, I would not recommend using anything foraged that has been sprayed with anything like that. So this is only, for items that have not been sprayed. They're truly organic and wild foraged. Just making sure that I go around and peel off any brown spots or any dry leaves, anything that just doesn't look good. I'm peeling that away, and then I'm washing all of these really, really well. All right, guys, so I've gotten all of those onions chopped up. We've got them onto 2 sheet pans here, and I'm doing this instead of using my dehydrator because my dehydrator trays are like gridded, and all these little pieces will just fall through. So I thought it would just be easier just to put them in the oven onto a couple of cookie sheets. So I've set my oven to the lowest temperature I can get, which is like 120. And that should be just fine. We'll let these go for a few hours. They shouldn't need more than maybe 3 or 4 hours, maybe 5. But we'll just check on them, and once they're fully dried out, we'll take them out, we'll store them in a jar, and then we'll have tons of little green chives to add to whatever we want. Hey guys, so I'm out in my garden, and I was noticing that some of my herbs have overwintered and started growing back. Things like my thyme here, and my sage. I'm not going to harvest any sage yet, but I am going to start harvesting some of this thyme and drying it because this is the best time to do it, and I want to start harvesting. So I'm going to go ahead and get some of that going. I may get a little bit of the sage, but I think I'm going to give that some time to really get established because it'll get really big out here. So, and then I'm going to poke around in the front yard too and see if any of my rosemary can be harvested up there, and we'll go from there. Come along with me. So I am going to be careful because last year, probably still is, there was a big ant bed underneath here, so I don't want to disturb it too much. But this time over the winter, it just dries up and it's brittle, and then as soon as it gets warm, it really starts growing again. So I'm just going to try to get really big bunches of this, and then it'll just grow right back again. And this started off as one tiny little plant, and it's just gotten bigger and bigger over the last few years. harvest of thyme. We'll get it washed up and dried. So I've got a little bit of rosemary out here, starting to come back. My rosemary bushes are pretty decent size now. And I'll have another one on the other side. So we're going to harvest a little bit of this too. Now the last thing I'm going to harvest is some more thyme over here. This is lemon thyme. So it has a nice lemony scent to it. So we have a nice section of it here. The rest of my bed is just completely overgrown. Has to be dealt with, but for now we're just going to take this. So I've just brought all these inside and washed them all. They're all good, clean, and now we're going to put them on our dehydrator trays here, and we're going to put them in our dehydrator. I really enjoy doing these little small harvests like this. I think that there's a myth about homesteading and gardening, and it's that you plant everything at one time and you harvest everything at one time, and then that's it. It's just this one-shot deal. And if you have been homesteading for a while, you really understand that it's not really about that. It's about taking small, tiny little harvests, foraging where you can, finding deals where you can, and just doing little things all throughout the year. Every single day is just another small step towards saving and salvaging and storing and preserving something that you're able to glean or salvage or grow yourself. And I think that's really the gist of what homesteading is. It's learning to figure out how to constantly be on the lookout for food and ways to store food. And there's always a little harvest around the corner. You just have to know what to look for. Got all my trays here. I'm gonna go put them in the dehydrator now. So let's check on our green onions. Yeah, so they've been in here for 2 hours, and I can still tell that they have lots of moisture in them. I'm just gonna kind of give them a little stir here. Put those back in. So yeah, these are definitely going to need more time. So I'll just set the timer for another hour, maybe 2, and then we'll come back and check. All right, friends, I'm back today. I'm going to show you the results of our wild onion harvest. Check it out. So I ended up keeping these in the oven for about 6 hours at 125 degrees, and they finally got really crispy. If you can hear that in there, you want these to be nice and crispy, no moisture left. And I do have to get a lid for this jar, but for now I've got it sealed with this cling wrap, and I'm gonna put those in my pantry. So here's our dehydrator with all of our rosemary and thyme. So here are some of our trays. Oops. So it's really brittle. We'll just end up crumbling all that. Trying not to get all the stems. That's pretty good. Obviously, we have to clean it up a little bit, but we'll get a nice batch of thyme from that. Really excited. So we have a little bit of our jar filled, and we'll only need to do that a few more times to fill the whole quart up, and then we'll have enough for the year. Pile of thyme, and we're just going to put that into our jar. All right, friends, I hope that inspired you to go out and do a little foraging and a little harvesting of your own. You can find all kinds of stuff growing on your own property or maybe someone's property that you know. Just make sure you get permission before you go out there. And yeah, happy foraging. Make sure you're looking for stuff like wild onions. And then if you are already growing maybe in your own yard, things like thyme or rosemary, you need to make sure you're harvesting those guys throughout the year so that way you have plenty when you need it. So yeah, go out, do a little foraging, a little harvesting today, add to your food storage a little bit, and I can't wait to see you guys next time here at Row & Co Farms.